Okay, so hello, folks. Um, so this is a video that I thought I'd put together in the aftermath of seeing a homily by Father Mike Schmitz on Ascension Presents. And he presented his homily on Holy Thursday night, which is the night of the Last Supper. And there was lots of things that made me really kind of consider in that homily, and it reminded me a lot of a previous video that's actually online by Bishop Robert Barron, and that video was about Victor Hugo's novel, and specifically the film that just came out. I think it's in 2016, 2017, something like that. Les Miserables. So this video is really going to be about sort of my sort of take on sort of the Christian themes, the distinctly Christian themes that run particularly throughout that book. And some would argue, and I'm in agreement, that actually it's fairly difficult to see the book without the Christian perspective. It doesn't make sense. So I'm going to draw the material probably from memory, drawing on the two homilies by both Bishop Robert Barron, and that's available online, and also from the homily from Father Mike Schmitz. And you'll know, well, you may not know, but the main protagonist is Jean Valjean, who is sent to prison for a very, very small and meagre offence. It was a theft of bread for his nephew, and he was sent to prison for 19 years. And he came out of that prison a very broken, resentful, bitter individual. And he didn't make it on the outside. In fact, he fell into destitution. But he was taken in by the bishop who actually, in the book, he's given Hugo gives about 100 per pages to the description of this very saintly individual, because at the end of the day, context matters. And this is a very good man who takes this destitute man in and tries to help him. And regrettably, Jean Valjean steals from this man. He steals most of the silverware from the bishop, and is eventually caught by the gendarmerie and brought back to the bishop, because he concocts the story that he had actually had given him the silverware. But to his absolute astonishment, while expecting to be sent back to prison, the bishop corroborates his story. And Jean Valjean is unable to make sense of this. He's unable to make sense of this gratuitous and hugely favourable kindness that the bishop gives to him. And in the book, it's said that the reason for this is that the bishop wants to awaken within him that sense of possibility, that sense of love, really. And that is the beginnings of the Christian story. It is the bishop gives of himself, he gives of his goods, he gives out almost everything to this man. And it is that essential theme, I think. It's that sense of self-gift. What is God, or who is God? Well, God is love. And it's an essential component of which is that self-giving, that gratuitous self-giving. So here we see the first of the themes in that sense of giving, gratuitously so, ununderstandably so, undeservedly so. And so it is the case that Valjean goes on and he prospers, he becomes a mayor of a town, and he himself begins to self-give, and he takes in Fantine in the movie, it's quite a moving scene when Anne Hathaway sings that song, "I Dream a Dream." It's just a very moving account, a very moving scene. And he himself, Jean Valjean, takes in this woman, this prostitute, and gives of himself, and also takes on her daughter Cosette. So there you can see this, what began with this enactment of self-giving, emulating Christ, God, the giving of self. It's borne witness in the life of Valjean, and he himself gives of himself. And it is the case that actually subsequently in the story, Cosette falls in love with Marius. Marius is involved in the French Revolution, and in the story, in the film, I believe that works out well, but in the book that actually isn't the case. It is the occasion that Jean Valjean has to rescue Marius. And I found out that actually in the book there's about a chapter or so given to Hugo gives an explanation of the French sewers. And what has the French sewers got to do with anything, really? Well, in the book, Valjean rescues Marius by virtue of having to make his way through the French sewers. And the account is given that he's getting deeper and deeper, literally into the sewage, until it's actually reaching his chest, then his chin, then to almost his mouth and nose. And all the while he's carrying Marius, a person he dislikes, in fact distrusts enormously, because he's going to take away Cosette from him. And he has a choice. He has a choice at that particular moment. He has a choice at that point where the sewage is this high on him, to make a decision about, do I let go or do I keep going and choose to die with this man? And in the end, he chose not to let go. He chose to keep going. And that was step by step. And he makes his way, and Marius, out of the sewage. And you can also see the theme of Christ not giving up on us, that actually the worst of humanity came out against him, really, the most vile and putrid of human behavior attacked him and assailed him. But in the end, he came back. He didn't let go of us. He didn't give up on us. He didn't let us die. So when he came back, his words were shalom, peace. So again, I think that's actually quite a strong Christian, particularly, image of Christ not letting go of us, even though we might have been too hard to lift, dead weight, and not deserving of his kindness. The last thing I would say about the character-wise is Javier, the lawman. He's representative of the law, absolute, rigid, unyielding, and in the end, he's unable to receive that gift of love, that gift of compassion from Jean Valjean. It doesn't square at all with his sensibility, with his ideological thinking of what the law is and what right and wrong is, because it's completely untempered by mercy. Law without any kind of mercy is tyranny, and in the end, that's what kind of broke him, his own self-tyrannical burden in terms of allegiance to the law and not being able to receive love and compassion. That's what in the end took his life. He couldn't cope with it. I'm kind of reminded of C.S. Lewis' idea, that the idea that the fire that burns in hell is actually the rejection of love, really, that it turns us in and itself. So I suppose that's what I want to say about Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. It's almost impossible, I think, to actually see it without the perspective of Christian thinking, and Christ's life and love rings like a bell throughout that movie. It's also the case that those themes of death and resurrection and rescue, they dwell so much in much of the literature and in much of the culture. Can think of Anakin Skywalker. He's returned to the Father. Ben Skywalker, he's returned to the Father. It rings like a bell in many sort of movies and cultures and stories. That idea of being forgiven in the face of undeservedness is a wholly Christian idea. And in receipt of that gift, we are asked to give it away. We are asked to kind of show that and demonstrate that and offer that corresponding self-gift and self-love to others as we encounter them. So I think that's what I'm going to leave it at for the time being. So I imagine in the future I'm going to be putting up other sort of reflections on other movies and stories that are out there. And I hope that this has given food for thought. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Bye for now.